Hello Woodside family, my name's Katie and I just wanted to share with you a little bit about some things that I've been learning about in the past few months that have just really impacted my faith in a really positive way, and I hope it helps you too a bit in some way. I was just really had a bit of a weight on me and a bit of a real stirring to look into the Bible, this Bible that I never actually read. It's upside down. Just read it on my phone. But anyway, this looks good for the video, doesn't it? So here it is. But yeah, reading into the Bible, and can we trust it? Is it historically accurate? Who wrote it? Why did they write it? Who put it together? I think there's a lot of skepticism and suspicion about it. Has always been, I imagine possibly always will be, that it's been used to control people or to share the account of the victor's history, and people are marginalised by it and that kind of thing. And I just want to really encourage you that I've got a lot more to look at and learn and read, but from what I've found so far, everything that I've read about how the Bible was put together and what's been put in it and who wrote it has just really encouraged me about the character of God. He is a loving, peace-loving, kind, faithful God, and a God who we can trust. What we're reading in the Bible is the Jesus who actually lived, is the historical figure of Jesus who actually lived, not a made-up character. And I'm going to focus mainly on what I found about the New Testament, because that's what I've read so far, but I have done a bit of reading about the Old Testament, which I know a lot of people, including myself and much more strongly than me, people have concerns about what kind of a God we read about in the Old Testament. Lots of war, lots of possibly genocide, lots of anger. And I just want to encourage you that from what I've, look into it. If you've got questions, look into it, because from what I've read so far, some of these stories are very difficult and need a lot of time and context to understand. And I don't claim to be anywhere near that yet. But I've just been so encouraged that actually they all talk about a God who is the same God, a God who we read about in the life of Jesus, who is kind, who is faithful, who is peaceful, who loves everybody equally. And I just really encourage you to look into that if you've got concerns about that, because there's a lot of clever people who have spent a lot of time researching this, as I have found. But I just wanted to, I don't know if this will float everyone's boat, but I just wanted to give you a few of the kind of stats that I found about the New Testament, about the four Gospels that tell us about the life of Jesus and how they hold up historically. So you've got the, apparently this is how historical texts are evaluated. You've got the event that happened, then you've got the original that was made, and then you've got the copies of the original that were made. And what's important is how long after the original event was how long after the event was the original made, and was it accurate? Did they get the details right about the time and the place and the people and all that kind of stuff? And how long was it made after the event? And then how many copies were made of the original, and how long after the original were they made? Because if there's a long time and not many copies, you think, oh, there's probably error, maybe myth could creep in there, that kind of thing. So just to encourage you that that the New Testament's Gospels stand up really well historically. So they were written so these were eyewitnesses, and we can be sure that they were eyewitnesses because they got detail right about the events. They got the names of the villages right, they got the names of the people right, they got the architecture, the landscape, the culture, the laws, all that kind of stuff. They got it right historically, and so these were eyewitnesses to the event. And then the copies of those originals that were written were made only between 30 to 60 years after the original was written, and there were 5,795 copies that have been so far found that were made. And so if you think they were made within the lifetime of the people who were actually there, so if copies had been made that said things, people would have been like, no, he didn't say that, he didn't do that, that wasn't what he did. And this stands up very, very well compared to other Greek literature, which I'm sure you know all about, as do I. Homer's Iliad or the writings of Caesar. So, for example, the writings of Caesar, the copies were made 900 years after the original, and there were about 250 copies made. And for Homer's Iliad, the copies were made about 1700 years. Sorry, there were 1700 copies made about 400 years after the original. So the New Testament, over 5,000 copies made only 30 to 60 years after the original. We can be sure that what we're reading here today in our Bible is what was originally recorded about the man who Jesus was. And just as a little aside, there's stuff that I read about people saying that the miracles of Jesus were added a lot later, but actually they weren't. They were in the original copies, and actually, a lot of what we know about Jesus was based on his miracles and the things that he did, and we can be sure that those were things that were recorded by eyewitnesses. So yeah, I just wanted to share that a bit with you. I think I've just been so reassured that the Bible was written by all sorts of different people from all sorts of different cultures, backgrounds, and I think, the whole way it was put together, who it was written by, just speaks of a God who loves everybody, who is has made everybody exactly how he wanted them, who is not a sexist, racist, genocidal, warmongering God. He is a loving God who gave himself equally for all of us, and who is kind and faithful and peaceful. And it's just really bolstered my faith in that. And just want to encourage you, if you've got, as I said before, if you've got questions like this about this kind of thing, just read about it, look at it. There's lots of stuff out there. And I hope that has been encouraging to you, and hope to see you all soon. All right, take care.